Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the holiday edition of Joy News Today with me, Carlos Kaloni. The bulletin is live from our studios here at Kokumeme in Accra, also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. In this bulletin, call of strike, return to work and the negotiation table. Ghana Tertiary Education Commission tells striking TEU Ghana members. Well, we'll get you a response from the TEU Ghana. Also, Chief of Staff tasked a National Corruption Action Plan to intensify fight against corruption to reduce trend.
NACAP has not performed too well when it comes to the actual reduction of corruption in our country.
More, as he says, fighting corruption is a legacy priority for President Mahama. And Legal Aid Commission asked for urgent support to decongest Ghana's prisons, blaming lack of lawyers for rising inmate population.
Some of them, because they don't have lawyers, they are almost like forgotten. They are here, they can be here for years, and their case will not be heard.
We have details as the Eastern Regional Prisons Director demands upward review of daily feeding allowance, describing it as woefully inadequate.
So it is a challenge feeding, because they are being fed on 1 cedi 80 pesos a day.
Well, these plus business news and showbiz in this package. Stay with us. Let's begin from the education front because Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission is asking striking members of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union Ghana to call off its strike and return to the negotiation table. Professor Ahmed Jinapor has also described the industrial action by TEU Ghana to protest its lack of representation on University Council as illegal. Now, let's get a reaction from TEU. Charles Arthur is the chairman of the TEU Ghana KNUST chapter, and he joins us live here. Now, the GTEC is actually describing your strike as illegal. What is your response? Kindly unmute. Hello, Charles Arthur? Well, we're trying to connect the lines to Charles Arthur, who speaks for TEU GH, and GTEC is actually... Yeah, if you can hear me. I was asking you earlier that GTEC is saying your strike is illegal. How do you react to that?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yes. I'm saying that let's look at the process of embarking on industrial action. It's enshrined in section 159 AMB in the Labour Code 651. You give 7-day ultimatum, you inform the Labour Commission and the other parties, which we have done that. And all this room is for these days have to make the parties to make good use of it, which we have done that. So it isn't that we did not inform him that we are going on strike. We informed him and gave him 7-day ultimatums required by the law. So he's aware.
Right. And so the actual demands you're making, what are they, and why are you making such demands? Because it appears that these issues have already been dealt with.
No, it has not been dealt with. It has been dealt with one-sided way by Professor Ahmed Jinapor, and this is where we have found ourselves. Because he knew that now the unions are two, TEU Ghana and TEU TUC. And what we're supposed to do now is to go for verification, which we are already with the Labour Department. And there's a frustration over there. And his office and that of the Minister of Education and Minister of Labour and Employment should facilitate that. And they are reluctant. And it has brought us to where we are now. So where we are now, we think that this is the only remedy. In fact, Labour Commission has even written to him that he should comment on our what the grievances that we have raised in our letter, informing the Labour Commission and they themselves that we are going on strike. As we speak, we have not heard from the Labour Commission. We presume if they have done that, Labour Commission may by all means have referred the matter to us, and the strike wouldn't have come on.
And so you intend to stay on the strike until you hear from the Labour Commission?
Yes, we are saying in that Professor for Minister of Education and Minister of Labour and Employment Relations should facilitate the process. The Labour Department is agency of the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations. So it's just a phone call. We keep on saying it. And this thing, what you call verification, can be done within 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. Unless they themselves decide to put some impediment and say that it's a process, it's not event, it's a process, not event. We don't know when the process will start and when the process will end. You understand? Other than that, verification that we already have the numbers, we give it to you, come and verify, should also take some time for people to also strike. What is that?
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on Joy Newsroom. But stay with me. Tomorrow, what is up for you?
Hello?
I'm asking, what are your plans for tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Saturday. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, tomorrow is Saturday. So we have said that our members should not go to work. Tomorrow is Saturday.
And Monday?
Yes, so Monday we'll hear what Professor Janapo is saying. If Professor Janapo is saying that we should come to negotiation table, which we are ready, he should invite us. Because he already invited us 26 to attend a meeting. And he brought it to an end without telling us anything. You understand? So if he wants us to go to negotiation again, he should invite us and also write the letters to the university, suspending all the universities, telling the university suspend the TEU, the minority, to go on council, so that it becomes smooth, and then we'll all sit and look at the verification, and then we'll finish the matter.
So that is what it would take to get you back to the negotiation table, right?
Exactly so.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Now, away from that, Chief of Staff Julius Debra is asking members of the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan to intensify the effort and end the trend of corruption. He says despite the progress made under NACAP, it has not reduced actual incidents of corruption. Now, speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of the group at the presidency, he stressed that accountability and the fight against corruption remains central to President Mahama's legacy term.
The following achievements of NACAP were reported. The implementation of NACAP led to the following: increased awareness of the havoc caused by corruption and available reporting mechanism, including whistleblowing. 2. Accelerated digitization of financial services, revenue authorities, and ports and harbors, leading to improved efficiency and reduced discretion. Reduction in sexual harassment and sextortion, supported by workplace safe reporting mechanism. Next, implementation of the National Anti-Money Laundering, Combating, and Financing of Terrorism and Provocation of Weapons of Mass Destruction guidelines for banks and non-bank financial institutions in Ghana. During this period, Ghana witnessed increased operational activity from key anti-corruption and law enforcement agencies, such as the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, (SHRAJ), Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, in both administrative and criminal investigations, prosecutions, asset tracing, seizure, and recovery. However, it is also worth noting that after Ghana's best performance score of 48% on the Corruption Perception Index, CPI, in 2024, the year NACAP was passed by Parliament, the implementation of NACAP from 2015 to 2024 has coincided with a downward trending of the country's CPI score to the current all-time low of 42% in the last year of the NACAP. Clearly, one could argue that NACAP has not performed too well when it comes to the actual reduction of corruption in our country. and I'm sure the evidence is out there for all Ghanaians to see. We have to reverse this trend, and I charge this group to ensure that the strategy does precisely that. This is consistent with the promise that His Excellency the President made to Ghanaians. Accountability and the fight against corruption constitute a key pillar in the legacy term of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Ethics must be a key pillar in the development of the next national anti-corruption strategy, because corruption is first and foremost a moral issue before legality.
Well, Deputy Chief of Staff Nana Oye Bampoado expressed confidence in the group's capacity, urging them to combine their expertise to develop a fit-for-purpose national anti-corruption strategy through.
Heard from the Chief of Staff about the Corruption Perception Index and 42%. Our task is to reduce corruption in Ghana, to ensure that the revenue and the resources of Ghana are used for the welfare of the people of Ghana. The composition of this group is varied, and we're hoping that you would harness your strengths for us to come up with a fit-for-purpose NACAP 2. It is very important that we reverse this trend, and it is very important that we have a strong coordinating institution that will address the reduction of corruption and reverse the trend. It is very important that we have a strategy that would work. It is important that we make use of technology. We have more institutions, we have advanced technology, and we also have global activism. And this should come together to create a NACAP 2 that will work, that will reduce corruption, and that will ensure that we optimize our resources where they ought to be, the welfare of the people of Ghana. I'm sure that this will happen, and we will get a very strong NACAP 2 that will work to reduce corruption.
Now, when 24-year-old Kwame was picked up for murder in 2023, he thought he'd get a fair hearing within weeks. But without a lawyer and no money for one, he has spent nearly 2 years behind bars waiting trial. His story is one of many, as the Legal Aid Commission says it is severely understaffed, leaving thousands like Kwame stuck in the system without legal help. Rita Kukuti Ali of the Commission says the lack of personnel is directly contributing to Ghana's prison overcrowding crisis. She spoke at a legal outreach organized by the Greater Accra chapter of the Ghana Bar Association in the Insam prison. Here's Stephen Menson's report.
Kwame sits silently on a plastic bench inside the Insam prison. He was arrested in 2021 for allegedly stabbing and killing someone during a street altercation. He says he was never given legal representation in court and remained in police custody for nearly 2 years without trial. Kwame says he feels abandoned and hurt by a system meant to protect the innocent until proven guilty. His lack of legal support is one of many that the Legal Aid Commission says stems from severe understaffing.
I'm a lawyer. I pay my lawyer for my first time, but he's not attending to me since 2021. As for this year, I came here July 2024, where I came this year, but I was in police station since December 2021.
But all is not lost. Kwame has been handed a lifeline. The Greater Accra chapter of the Ghana Bar Association stepped in, offering free legal counsel to inmates and to other Ghanaians in parts of the country who cannot afford private lawyers. Rita Kukuti Ali is a member of the Ghana Bar Association and the Ghana Legal Aid.
I am at the Legal Aid Commission, but I tell you what, we are understaffed at the Commission. We are overwhelmed with cases, and so even though the Commission has been set up by the state to deal with this kind of people who do not have money on their own to engage private lawyers, we are not many The lawyers at the commission are not many to deal with all these cases. Majority of the inmates here are on remand, which means that their cases have not yet been tried. And for some of them, the reason why their cases have not been tried is because they do not have lawyers. Because if you have a lawyer, your lawyer is going to push and, you know, get your case heard in good time. But for some of them, because they don't have lawyers, they are almost like forgotten. They are here, they can be here for years, and their case will not be heard. So this is very, very, very important. It's very necessary. It's all about justice.
Meanwhile, the Eastern Regional Director of Prisons is also making a fresh appeal to the government for an urgent review of the daily feeding allowance for inmates currently pegged at $1.80 and 80 pesos.
Sure, it is a challenge feeding because they are being fed on $1.80 80 pesos a day. And then this has persisted over a decade ago. And then we know what is obtained currently in the market. So the feeding rates of $1.80 80 pesos to provide 3 square meals, not only that, but nutritious meals for the inmates is definitely a challenge.
Until these concerns are addressed, officials warn that the prison system will continue to be overwhelmed and many inmates will continue to suffer. For Joy News, Jean Mensa.
Well, Communications Minister Sam George has revealed the arrest of more than 400 individuals linked to various cyber crimes, including fraud, forgery and romance crime. The suspects were arrested at 2 separate locations in Tema and Sogakope in special operations by the Cyber Security Agency and the Ghana Police Service. There's more in the following report.
Cyber fraud and romance scam have become a growing trend which government is finding ways to deal with in a move to curb the menace. Early this week, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, and Interpol, in partnership with Ghanaian counterparts, repatriated a businessman, Joseph Bedu Boating, also known as Dada Joe Remix, to the U.S. to face prosecution over allegations of duping unsuspecting American citizens of over $1 million in a romance scam. Communications Minister Samuel Nate George at a press conference on Thursday provided some updates on the matter as he revealed over 400 individuals have also been arrested in Ghana over similar cases.
As of today, 4 of the 5 persons have been successfully apprehended, 3 have been extradited, and 1 is about to be extradited to the U.S. by Interpol and the AG's office. In one instance, the CSA and the Ghana Immigration Service busted a pig butchering fraud hosting center at the Nyamidria Estates in Tema Community 26. Over 400 persons were arrested from 8 different nationalities. In that particular raid, we seized 4,000 mobile phones, 70 laptops, and 5 firearms. The CSA, in another operation with the Ghana Police Service, busted a sophisticated recruitment fraud ring. After weeks of detailed surveillance, an operation was carried out with the Ghana Police Service in Sogakope, leading to the arrest of 11 suspects, including the gang leader of the group. The gang had extensive capabilities, including forging national identity documents. They're in the cooler now, thanks to the work of the CSA.
The minister also announced a number of measures to help content creators generate revenue, as well as clamp down on nudity on social media, especially on TikTok.
The ministry has formally reopened engagements with PayPal to ensure full access to its service for Ghanaian users. That I'm deeply concerned about some of the content on TikTok. Life, sex, and explicit material on TikTok is completely unacceptable and against our culture and our norms. And those were parts of the conversation I held with TikTok's team to have content moderation in country. But the cybersecurity authorities mandated to do constant surveillance of TikTok platforms and accounts in country that are engaged in content that is anti our culture and not appropriate, and work with the platform operator to take down those accounts and block the owners of those accounts from operating on those platforms.
He also had some good news for subscribers of DS.
Well, away from that, on Thursday, there were reports that the police protection previously assigned to the residents of the Electoral Commission person, Jean Mensa, in Laboni, Accra, has been quietly withdrawn. Now, Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak joins us for update on this. Can you confirm if indeed the security detail to the EC's residence has been withdrawn?
Let me say, that is not true, because the EC herself, I don't know whether he's spoken to her. I was the one who spoke to her to tell her that the new government direction is that we don't want the military to be provided.
Hello, sir. Can you kindly speak up for us so we can hear exactly what you're saying?
Can you hear me? I'm saying that I personally spoke to her after the meeting. We agreed that we were no longer going to use military to provide what was civilian protection. So a job was withdrawn and replaced with a police. So if you ask her, she will tell you she has a bodyguard, she has police manning her gate both day and night, and therefore it is never true if anybody says that her security has been withdrawn. What we do generally is to provide security around every neighborhood. But VVIPs, like the chair of the, what do you call it, Electoral Commission, she has a personal bodyguard. Her gate is manned 24/7, just like the Chief Justice, just like the Speaker of Parliament, and all others. And that we are doing. And I'm sure you can call her and find out, and she can confirm that, no, she has both her and her deputies, her office is protected.
But what went into the decision to withdraw the military and replace with the police?
Why should the military be performing civilian functions? I mean, our country is not at war. Why should you draw in the military? I mean, you know, the use of military sometimes sends wrong signal to the ordinary citizens. Police are trained with a civilian mind. The military are supposed to concentrate to provide security for our external or territorial integrity. So when we draw them in, we are reducing the number of personnel that the military has to perform those difficult tasks that is usually performed by the military.
Is this exercise going to be limited to the EC chair alone, or are we going to see this cut across all?
That's everywhere. I mean, you can find out from the former defense minister, you can find out from almost all the civilians that were using militia. All of that has been withdrawn. All that without exception. And this is a decision that we took as a new government, and that's our policy. No civilian. And we've even encouraged our own members who are ordinarily, before they took their offices that they were occupying, some persons were providing military service to them. Yet, when we came, we decided that everybody should be protected with police, and that's what we are doing.
Right, but our independent checks at her residence, it shows that at the time we went, though, there were no police officers on the ground.
That's not true. We don't, I mean, who says that providing security to me as interior minister is to see police all over the streets around my house? They are supposed to be manning my gate. And that's what we are doing. And I'm saying that find out from her, are people manning her gate? Yes. They are manning her gate. They are following her wherever she goes. Yes.
All right. Finally, before I let you go, let's get clarity. Did you have a communication with her prior to the withdrawal of the military?
Yes, I personally did with her. You can ask her, and she will tell you I did.
You wrote to her or you called her?
I called her. I spoke to her. All those involved. You can ask the former defense minister. I called them personally to give them head start and gave them when it was even going to start. All that.
And they were in agreement?
It's not about you agreement. We are supposed to provide security for you. And we are telling you that this is how we are going to do it. It's not for you to agree and disagree.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on Joy News today. Now, headmaster of Uraura Senior High School wants government to complete a project started more than 10 years ago, but abandoned since then. He notes the assembly hall and kitchen complex plus a 12-unit classroom block have sold and abandoned by the contractor. The situation has compelled the conversion of classroom block into dormitory facility to accommodate students, while other uncompleted structures are used for studies. Peter Senu has more in the following report.
The woes of Aurora Senior High School came to the fore during the launch of the 50th anniversary celebration of the school. The school, though 50 years and becoming renowned in recent years for its STEM innovations, have serious infrastructural deficits that have compelled authorities in the school to make some adjustments for the smooth running of the school. Michael Damesi is the headmaster of the school.
The school initially was started as a community school, and then it's migrated to become a government assisted. Initially it was started and it was a technical institute. Then by 1975, government came to absorb the school, and it has now become a government assisted secondary school. That is why today and this year marks the 50th year of the institution of this great school, and we want to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Aurora SHS is well noted for its STEM, and it is very true. When the STEM program started in the year 2022, we were among the first group of schools that went. And our output or performance was well appreciated by the whole gathering over there. And this has won a lot of laurels. However, our infrastructure does not match our performance to see. We need more. And there are some ongoing projects that will pray that the government comes to our aid to get this project completed.
This is the dining hall and kitchen complex that was started in 2012. This is also a 12-unit dormitory block started in 2012 but waiting to see its completion. It is currently being used as a classroom facility due to lack of space for teaching and learning. This is supposed to be a 12-unit classroom block. It is currently serving as a dormitory accommodation for the boys, since the initial block for their accommodation is yet to be completed. I met this chemistry class being held in an open dining hall. The facilitator, Walanyo, and the school prefect, Matthew, say the environment is not conducive for effective teaching and learning.
The concepts that I'm supposed to teach them from a practical perspective, that's from a concrete perspective. I'm rather doing it from an abstract perspective. And so it's quite challenging for the students, I would say.
Because it is an open place, whenever people are passing or animals are making noise, it distracts our studies here. And also, it is closer to our kitchen. So when they are cooking, in fact, the aroma and the noise from the kitchen distracts our lesson, and it takes away most of the students' concentration.
Authorities and students are appealing to government to consider strongly completing projects started over 10 years ago that have been abandoned. Peter Senu for Joy News.
Well, President John Dramani Mahama has come to the aid of the families of the Dikpe boat disaster in the Lora municipality. The 7 students met their untimely death after the boat they were traveling on capsized. President Mahama, through Transport Minister Joseph Bukari, has donated 5,000 Ghana cedis and some other items to the victims. Rafiq Salam has more.
On June 14, 2025, 10 students of the Lora Senior High School who went for their routine morning jogging met their untimely death when they veered off from their original plan. They joined a Burkina Faso-bound boat for a jolly ride, who later capsized, drowning all 11 occupants on the boat. 3 of them had managed to swim out of the water. The incident threw the Lora Senior High School and the Lora community into a state of shock and disbelief. The 7 drowned students, comprising of 5 females and 2 males, were later retrieved from the water by the help of local divers and handed over to their respective families for burial. President John Dramani Mahama, concerned about the plight of the bereaved families, and as a mark of showing commiserations, respect, and support to them, donated through the Transport Minister Joseph Bukari a cash amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis and a bag of rice each to the 7 bereaved families. The 3 female survivors were also handed over 2,000 Ghana cedis. In addition, the Acting Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Naval Captain Retired Dr. Kamaldin Ali Esquire, who is an old student of the school, donated 10 bags of rice and 5,000 Ghana cedis to the school. Upper Sudan Minister Charles Wongo Pozung made the donation on their behalf.
I shall make a presentation of 1 bag of rice to each of our fallen heroes' parents with an additional amount of 5,000 Ghana. We know that whatever is being given will not bring our colleagues back. However, as government, it is only important to always sympathize with bereaved families as we've been doing over the period.
Headmaster of the school, Primoz Barrow, on behalf of the school and the affected families, thanked President John Dramani Mahama for the kind gesture.
We want you to send our very pleasant thanks back to His Excellency and partly also to the Ghana Maritime Authority. In fact, I will say, one thing that just came out again and which we should also be happy about is for these little ones to get to know today that somebody at that level is the product of Laura Senior High School. This is something, if we understand at all, we must be happy about.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Maritime Authority, GMA, donated 30 life jackets to 5 communities that are by the Black Water. Each of the communities were also handed 500 Ghana cedis. The GMA used the opportunity to educate and sensitize the people on safety measures when using the boats. Reporting for the News, Rafiq Salam, Laura.
Well, let's move to the National Science and Math Quiz next. Well, Collins Frimpong is joining us all the way from the Bono region. Collins, what is the atmosphere like where you are?
Hello. I don't know if the background noise over here. It's so exciting over here. Yesterday, it was this morning, to get a vibe. But no, St. James of the for the vibe is. But guess what? Yesterday they sent warning to their opponents, and they really kept the threat and everything. They have won the Blue Ahab Zonal Championship. St. James Seminary, they have won it. They actually led throughout the whole round. The first one was quite tight when they were leading with 25 points and Signare had 21. But right from the second round, they made their intention clear. They won all the questions that were thrown at them and also picked all the bonus and gave a grab of over 30 points in the second round. And now they have won the whole contest with over 30 points. So we have the new champion here, SMQ Zonal Championship over here, Carlos.
Right, exciting there. Well, let's cross over to Adobia who is joining us from the Western region. Adobia, how is the atmosphere at your end like?
Hi, Carlos. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Right. So we are currently on our way to the Central region. You know, we've wrapped up the contest at the Western region where GSTS emerged winner. They've stripped St. John's of their... In fact, St. John's was even kicked out by Secondary College in the second contest for the day. And then GSTS is now the current champions of the West, right? So we are moving to Central region where some of the very intense contests will happen. You know, the Central region and the Ashanti region have the most intense regional contests. Even like it's been like that over the years, okay?
Right.
So we are going to the Central region. And the Central region currently has the national champions, that's Infantipim Boys. Amongst other very good schools, there are some of the creme de la creme schools in Central region. So I'm looking forward to interesting contests. And starting tomorrow, we have 3 contests tomorrow, but I'm going to talk about just the first one. And then, hold on for me, Carlos.
Right.
So, Asin State College, Gomoa Jaman, Commander SHTS, Mankesim SHTS, and Ogwa SHTS will be contending in the first contest tomorrow at the Central Region.
Okay, we're looking forward to getting results from the Western Region. You're still watching Joy News today with me, Carlos Caloni. We'll take a short break. When we return, we have business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Government has announced that it is planning to spend $1.4 billion next year to service debts owed Eurobond holders. This was contained in a statement by the Finance Ministry after it finalized a third tranche payment of $349 million to investors Thursday. George Affe has more.
The $1.4 billion will be in the form of total coupon payment that will be extended to these Eurobond holders for next year. The Ministry of Finance in a statement also disclosed that based on the payments that will be made in July this year, that will bring the total amount that will be paid to investors so far to around $1.1 billion. It went ahead to promise in a statement that it will stick to the scheduled payments in the coming months and going into next year because of its impact on Ghana's credit ratings, investor confidence, as well as support for the local currency stability in the coming months.
Now, board chair of Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Samuel Ofusu-Ampofo, says the state entity is gearing up to expand its activities, particularly at the port as government launches its 24-hour economy. According to him, adopting the program will enhance efficiency, increase exports, create employment, among other benefits to the country's economy. He was speaking at a familiarization visit to Cocoa Board Complex in Tema.
Only yesterday, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, launched the 24-hour economy program. And among other things, indicated that the Ghana ports will be one of the focal points for the 24-hour economy. And as our job is also located within the port, it means that we must start preparing ourselves to engage in the 24-hour economy process. Because if the port starts operating 24 hours, we cannot sleep while the port is operating. We need to position ourselves and ensure that we also take advantage of the 24-hour economy in order, first of all, to expand the scope of work that we do, to increase the level of efficiency. If we are exporting, for instance, and we are doing 24 hours, then it means that we use a shorter period to do the exports. And also, by so doing, when we operate a 24-hour 3-shift system, definitely some employment will also be generated for other people who will come in to support us.
Meanwhile, Dr. Ofusu-Ampofo has admitted there are operational challenges which need urgent attention to enable Cocoa Board to take advantage of the 24-hour economy policy.
We cannot operate under the 24-hour economy without expanding the infrastructure and facilities that we have. And so that will engage the attention of the board and management to look at the critical areas that need expansion in order for us to take full advantage of opportunities that presents to us of the introduction of this policy. All of us must embrace it. All of us must work very hard and apply ourselves to it to ensure that we derive maximum benefit out of it.
That's it. More business news at the top of the hour. Well, today, up next.
My name is Loy Shaladevi, and it is time for Showbiz. Let's get into it. Now, global music sensation Burna Boy has officially entered his, new era as executive producer of the upcoming thriller 3 Code Dishes. It was shot over 3 years ago across Nigeria, Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, and Mauritania. The film marks a bold new direction for the Grammy-winning artist and his Spaceship Films banner, which he co-founded with his mother. Now, 3 Code Dishes follows the gripping reunion of 3 women, Isosa, Fatuma, and Gisela, who were trafficked as teenagers and bound by shared trauma. Take a look at this video.
Everybody knows they did it. So now I'm paying you to tell me why. When you get to Lagos, go become big Lagos girl. Regarde-moi. Je m'apprête à changer ta vie.
And I promise, I will repay you.
At first, I didn't take them seriously. I mean, why would I? Many girls are forced to work for Eagle. They were not the first. But I guess there's no telling how tasty a cold dish can be when you've been starving. Mais c'est dangereux. Mais comment vous allez faire pour les amener ici? Ce sont des hommes.
Hell has no fairy like 3 broken women.
You may not like what I'm about to say. There is always the option of the law, you know?
Putain, merde. Fuck the law. And no, don't pardon my language. Justice is slow and corrupt.
It's showtime. Are we ready?
Now let's move away from that. Still in the world of music, Dinah Hamilton has made a shocking revelation about how a heartbreaking family tragedy directed her childhood dream of becoming an architect and led her into nursing. She recounted the emotional turning points in an interview with Irene on the Career Trail on Joy Learning and Joy News. Please take a look at it.
Long before Dinah became a household name in gospel music, she envisioned herself as an architect. Her hands were trained in technical drawing. Her eyes saw design in every line, and her heart throbbed with creative ambition.
I was very good at technical drawing, and so at a point I thought I was going to be an architect, and I think that's what informed my creativity.
But fate, family, and a heartbreaking experience reshaped her life forever. Dinah's aunt, a nurse battling terminal breast cancer, had come to live with their family during Dinah's time in junior secondary school. That period left a lasting impression.
My mother's sister came to live with us, and she was a nurse. And she was beautiful. She was a lady. She was everything I admired. But she was unwell. She had had breast cancer and she was dying. And she taught me to nurse her on her sick bed. And so she taught me to inject her. She taught me to dress her wounds. She taught me to make her bed. She taught me everything nursing before I even thought of doing nursing.
That powerful experience became a driving force during an interview for nursing school at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
So much so when I got to the interview at Konfanochi and they asked, why do you want, because the time I got there she had passed. Why do you want to be a nurse? I said, my auntie was a beautiful lady who loved her fashion, but knew how to switch roles as a nurse. And I think I want to be like her. And that was the only question they asked me at interview for nursing.
Her nursing journey took her through Ghana's Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
I did my rotation in Kolebu. I worked there for about 2 years.
And while she didn't sketch buildings as an architect, Dinah Hamilton ended up designing something far more impactful, a legacy built on care, music, and purpose.
Well, my name is Lois Shola Adeyemi, and this is how we wrap up showbiz. But for more showbiz stories, head on to My Joy Online. Right now, you can see that there's Kwame Dazi who has posted that let's have a national SHS music competition. And then Amelo Jesu has said that Adam's Toto Parliament and the politics of misunderstood art. For more stories, please do head on to myjoyonline.com. But Carlos Caloni, what did you once want to be? Because we just heard
I've always wanted to be a journalist. You?
I mean, I want to say air hostess, but here I am, so I love this job.
Right. Thank you so much for watching. Like she said, you can log on to website myjoyonline.com for more stories. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good afternoon.